Welcome to Behind the Curtain 2023. And I am here with my co-host this year, Larry Loring. Thank you very much for being hosting this year with me.
My pleasure.
It's going to be an exciting year.
It is. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get a lot done this year, and all of it's going to be just huge. I'm goosebumps.
Well, me too. I'm very excited about the things that we're doing, and we've already started to do in November and December. One of the things that we're doing here in conjunction with WACA TV and Ashland Community Theater is we're going to be filming 8 to 10, and upon the time frame, short films that we're going to be premiering throughout the year, but also we're going to be having an Ashland Community Theater Film Festival in the October timeframe. Dates to be coming and secured shortly. But in the October timeframe, we'll have all those over 3 nights instead of a fall performance.
Yep.
This spring, we're going to be doing a show called Stories at Boulder Park,
Yep.
in which I believe you're going to be directing a scene or two.
I'll be directing a scene or two. I've written a scene or two, as have you, for that matter.
Yep.
Yep.
And we're looking forward to, once again, we're going back to some of the roots that we've done in ACT from the beginning. Original material, multiple directors and actors. So if you're interested in submitting a story for Stories at Boulder Park, please send it to us at ashlandcommunitytheater@gmail.com, and Larry and I will look it over and see if we will make the decisions over the next couple of weeks.
The concept is that there'll be a simple stage, perhaps a tree or two, there'll be a park bench. So that's the setting that you would want to write to if you decide to send something in or send us some ideas.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, a simple stage, but it's also a great opportunity for people who want to direct something for. It's a very short, 10 maybe 12-minute scene, so it's not overwhelming. And Larry and I will be there to help anybody who's interested in first-time directors to be on stage. If there's something you want to write, at least that's the theme, a story that could take any place in the park.
Yep.
So that's great. So looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to the films. Now, we've done a couple of films already.
We have.
We've done Party Time and The Last Patient.
That's right. Party Time, Last Patient, both of which you wrote. And we filmed the first one, Party Time, back in October. November.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. We were going to do October, but it didn't work out. So October, and then we did The Last Patient in November. October.
It was December.
It was December.
Yeah.
How long have I been here?
I don't know. He's been here not long enough. He put you in this chair like 3 years ago, and then we never came back.
No, I never did.
So we did that. We did the Party Time in November and Last Patient in December. And we're very fortunate tonight to have 2 of the actresses that were in the show.
Deb Lyons.
Deb who? Deb LeClaire.
Deb LeClaire.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay. She's sorry about it now too.
I'm
not even
sure.
She drove all the way on 135 with lights tonight.
She wasn't even in it.
I know she wasn't even in it. Deb Lyons. We didn't cast Deb Lyons because Deb LeClaire was so much better.
It's true. It's true.
Just can we cut that out? Okay. No, keep that in. And then, take a shot at the next actress's name. See if you can get this one right.
I know I won't get that.
Okay,
one right.
It's okay.
So that one's for you.
Chandra Baizan. If I didn't get that right, did I get that right? Chandra. See, I just wanted to make Deb feel good because we messed up her name in the interview process too. So we're just going to keep messing them. And I'm Jose Blanco, and this is Bill Smith. So we're all good now. So we got everybody's name. Chandra Baizan, Deb LeClaire, Larry Loring, Joe White. How about that?
That's pretty good.
Good. Okay. So I'm very excited about the upcoming year. We're going to do, like I said, 8 to 10 films. If you're interested in partaking in any capacity, we need people to help. Let us know. But right now we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to have 2 actresses here, and we'll introduce them to Larry, and so we get the names right. So we'll be right back.
What are their names again?
I don't know.
Okay.
I really wasn't paying attention. Liz, I'm not seeing any more patients. I'm done. I'm wiped.
One more, Tom, that's all. It'll be your last patient, I promise.
Single driver, no one else around. Hit a divider. Looks like she disappeared from the scene. They found her in a church, sitting on a floor, surrounded herself with about 100 lit candles. All she said was, "I need forgiveness. Please forgive me."
You must be Emily.
Do you know when I hit the divider, I hit a woman?
According to Liz, there's no one else at the scene.
You're weird.
I'm weird.
We are back and excited, having just seen the trailer for The Last Patient. We have now in the studio, we have Kendra Bison and Deb LeClaire, as opposed to what I called her earlier, along with the director and lead Joe White. So, first question. I know that the two ladies here have really done primarily film. And I wanted to ask each of you, what do you think of the differences between doing film, stage work, or this compared to what you usually have done more recently? Kendra?
I think I'm sort of like honestly new to all the mediums, but I will say with this, which I've done a couple of things on film before this, and what was unique and I thought very useful was that we were able to rehearse. We had that rehearsal time to kind of like meet the other actors. When I've showed up on set in the past, it's like the first time, you're with your scene partner,
Sure.
You're meeting them for the first time. And so kind of all the blocking and everything has to happen immediately, or you need to be ready for whatever they're going to throw at you. So it was just kind of nice to have. I felt like more prepared than I have in the past on film, although that's very similar to theater, where you do have like weeks long rehearsals. But this was a bit more expedited in compared to that. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was, really fun and also very collaborative. I thought, this whole group was open to kind of talking about ideas with the script and what we wanted to do, what we were trying to kind of communicate, and how to do that collaboratively. So that was awesome.
Excellent. Deb, how about you?
So this was really like a hybrid between stage work and film. I hadn't done anything, on stage for like probably 40 years, and I've been doing film. And in film, as you said, you get your sides, you got your pre-direction at whatever the chemistry read was or whatever it was, and you show up, there's your mark. You're lucky if you get one run through and you go. And so this was very different. This was kind of the hybrid. We got rehearsal time. We got to meet each other. We got to try out some different things. It was almost like an acting class. It was kind of fun. And then the way it was filmed, in that it was one kind of, each scene was a single take. It wasn't chopped up. Was also very different from how it's usually, my experience has been for in both commercial and film. It's not done that way. So, so I thought it was a lot of fun.
Excellent.
And good learning experience.
We're thrilled that you enjoyed it, and we've been thrilled just to have you, and you guys did such a fantastic job. Joe?
People feeling sorry about it, because no one's perfect. People make mistakes in their lives, and whatever it causes. Some are simple, tiny mistakes. Some of them are atrocious mistakes. But you still have an idea of maybe people feeling, I want to get an apology, or I want to feel some sort of, feeling about it. So I wanted to get that story out there to have people have that sentiment of loss and forgiveness kind of combination. Nothing personal came about it from me. I didn't tap into anything like personally happened, but just more like, what would I feel like if something like that did happen?
Okay. What was everybody's favorite line?
Of our own?
Or anybody's favorite line on the screenplay?
I think the made up.
That's my first.
That was the one that wasn't even in the script.
Wasn't even in the script.
So, of course, she's taking the I like my lines better than what was written on the page thing. That's how I take it, but this is me. But so really, that was it. Wow. All that work I put in there. Was it. Okay, just write that down.
How about you, Kendra?
My favorite line to say was, "You're weird."
And you said it with such command.
You got a lot to work with here.
Yeah. But I think my favorite like moments, maybe not a line, is when I ask in the driver of the car, do you pray that they're in hell? And then hearing you say no. I think that's like my favorite like moment
Yeah.
that I'm involved in.
Yeah.
Joe, how about you?
Favorite line? I'm weird. I'm not the one that lit 100 candles in a church.
So does that unnerve you?
I guess that's another good one too.
Yeah, but back to what you were saying is I think that moment of interaction between the two of them is really the meat of the story, where they, asking each other those questions.
Deb or Kendra, do either of you have any questions? Anything about the process or the script or anything that you're curious about that you're not sure of?
Yeah, so this was my first time having the director also be the actor in the piece as well. And I've never had that. I mean, I know it happens in film and on theater, but I've never been a part of it before. So I wanted to ask Joe, what was it like for you trying to wear your hat as the character, as well as trying to think about framing, blocking, camera? And I mean, there was just so many elements to think of all at the same time while you're laying on a cot,
I think it's difficult. I was selfish because I wanted to play the role, but I also wanted to direct it, and I'm like, do I do both? I don't know. And I think we made the decision, or at least I made the decision to Larry, that this is the last one I'll be in pretty much for the rest of the 8 runs, because I'll be directing 3 or 4 others. I love being behind the camera, but I just felt this is the one piece I wanted. But how difficult was it? It was very difficult laying on the cot. Go, how's it look? Is it okay? Does she? Oh wait, kid Larry, what do you think of that? Do you think is the rose showing? You see the rose? Okay, so that kind of stuff, I'd be behind the camera looking at it, saying, "Oh, pick it up." But working with 2 wonderful people like Larry, who has got a really good look and feel and knows me pretty well, and Connor, who is just an amazing person to work with, who probably is sick and tired of my very detailed emails back and forth. Sorry, Connor, I keep going back and forth. But we planned this out. I think a lot of it is all about planning. So you can execute anything if you plan it correctly. But I think going forward, I've made the decision that I'm either going to do one or the other, not both. But as enjoyable as it was very difficult.
Yeah. Kendra, how about you?
Well, I will say that along those lines, it's kind of cool to, have the director also be the actor, at least from my perspective, because I felt like, working with you as my scene partner, there was a space to have like a much more open dialogue about like what is working for the scene or what we should change. Whereas if, I was working with another actor and then there was the director, I don't know, it doesn't quite feel as comfortable sometimes, kind of coming up with thoughts or suggestions or whatnot. So I liked that aspect of it. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. So I think you should maybe potentially do it again in the future if you ever feel so inspired.
See, there's not just me, and then once it's sudden, I have someone else in the corner. Yeah.
It can be done. And Bradley Cooper directed. What was that movie?
Star is Born.
Yeah, that he was also amazing in. Anyway,
I think the key
one does it all.
The key thing is to have a really great support system in the team, because I trust Connor implicitly. I trust Larry implicitly. Having that behind your back is like, I don't have to worry about it. I have to do everything.
Yeah.
But I also feel as a director, with directing, I think you mentioned it a week or so ago, the directing that I did, the directing about how I wanted you to say the lines, where I want you to be, et cetera, like that. But the actual part of the directing of the film editing and the camera angles and those things, that's a completely different aspect of it that I didn't have as much involvement. I knew which scenes I wanted. I wrote them down. I gave them all to Connor, kind of knew what we were doing. But I think you both saw the scene tonight. And I think that the vision of the angles and the shots, I think they all came together So having that collaboration with Larry and Connor is the only way you can do it. If you try to do it all by yourself, it ain't going to happen.
Yeah. And to echo what others are saying, like Connor, it was amazing. I was so, because originally, like the scene between you and I, we were gonna cut it more in more places, and like so there would be more traditional, or like what is more my experience with film, where you're doing just little chunks of the scene, which can be hard as the actor, you know, to like remember what place you need to be in, etc.
What your mindset is at the time.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
So when he came in and was like, well, what if we just, you know, ran the whole thing? I think I can do it. And then he did. And it was like, this first take was this, whoa, that's a movie. You know, it was amazing. I was like so impressed. And yeah, it was such a treat as an actor to just be able to do the whole thing, like as the arc that it's meant to be.
And going back to the point of rehearsals, I feel it's extremely important, regardless of whether it's a play or a movie, to get the actors comfortable with what they say their lines are, because as a director, you want to make sure that they can do something like that we can run the whole thing. We can literally probably do it tonight if we really wanted to get up and just run the show, because we've done it before. We've rehearsed it. One of the reasons I tried to break it up in the way it was in the film is it kind of likes the idea of, you know, cutting and editing, because then there's multiple takes. But this scene, I think, lends itself to that fluidity. That's a word. But I think actors, I think as an actor, you want to be able to hone the craft to be able to do it. By doing it in snippets, I find it to be very, well, am I upset here? This is when you're upset. You got to be crying. All right, now start crying now, as opposed to having the emotion scene build up to it. It's just me. So that's why I love those rehearsals, and I encourage them.
That the idea of collaboration from the actors is something that you're not familiar with, or something that hasn't been your experience. And I'm wondering, was that a positive thing? Was that rephrase? Were there positives and negatives to that? Were there places where it was discomforting to you, or anything like that? Tell me about that whole concept of collaboration for you.
So it started when I got the email from Joe that there were going to be first 3 rehearsals.
I got 40 lines. What am I doing for rehearsals for? What the hell is this guy doing?
The first student table read, the first thing I did is why don't we're not in the scenes at this. So I got myself down to 2. And then I came to the first one, and it really was pretty cool. And I realized now, yeah, I really do. I will come to the second one. You thought I was going to come to 3. I thought, well, I'll come to the second one.
That's when directors don't listen.
But it wasn't, because it was more playing with the material, playing with, not just blocking and the mechanics of it, but like having a scene partner and doing it a couple of different ways, or, filling in those kind of little nuances of how you would be with, someone that you're comforting, or like you've known forever, like my work husband kind of thing, and how you would do that. So, it was like an acting class, and I made it worth. Selfishly, I mean, I enjoyed that part of it, because I don't get that, unless you go to an specifically.
Which you have to pay for, which is opposed to.
Yeah.
We don't charge you to come here and do wonderful talents.
Kendra, how about you?
Well, in terms of the positives, I think there are a lot, because I think the longer you're able to kind of like sit with material, the more you can like consider new ways to approach it. Whereas like maybe the first read, it looks some way to you in your head, but there are other options, and it's when you just have the one opportunity to like come and film on the day, there's not a lot of time to sort of explore what's going to happen. And that's one thing about being in a play, like you have this whole long rehearsal process, and you can experiment and see what works, and then, maybe change a whole approach to something based on something that worked by accident one day. But then at the same time, one thing that is sometimes maybe a negative is on film, the camera the camera can capture like lies very easily. Not lies, but when somebody's not authentic or bringing like an authentic performance to it. And I always find that like sometimes the first time I do something is when I'm the most present in it and the most authentic with it. So over rehearsing and over, becoming over mechanical about it, I think can on film sometimes translate as more artificial. And so that, it's like a balancing act between like how much you want to rehearse versus you want to get the truth in the scene from the actor. And sometimes that happens on like the initial take.
I won't give you a number, but I'm sorry to interrupt that. I won't give you a number, but how many first takes of your performance do you think we used of the 32 that we had? There were 32 different sections that we took. How many first takes do you think we used of yours?
Okay, well, the very first take that I did, maybe like 16.
Yeah, about almost that, yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of the first, and one of the things was I knew that going into this section that it's difficult for certain parts of your dialogue to replicate over and over and over again. And the more you do that, the less authentic it becomes. So one of the things I talked to Connor about, I said, forget about me, make sure you get her takes in certain spots and certain things. I didn't let you know about that, but we were talking about it. But I knew that that's how you were approaching it. Now, one of the things I liked about rehearsals is I know the people a little bit better, as opposed to bring her in, put her here, say her line, no, say it like this. And I felt like it helped me come in knowing a little bit about you, like you with the head and the foot comments. That's what led me to believe a little bit about the foot process when you would come in. And so knowing the actor who is being in the scene helps make the decisions. But yeah, a lot of your first takes was what we used.
Yeah, I knew the close-up was my second take.
Yeah.
So anything that's close-up is the second time I did it. And I know it because I can see it.
Yeah, okay.
But it's okay. I mean, yeah. I know. I like pick myself apart. That's why I have a hard time like watching myself on camera. But yeah.
So, Joe, let me say that one of the things that drew me to Ashland Community Theater to begin with is the fact that collaboration is a staple of it. I mean, it's Ashland Community Theater is almost built on the idea of collaboration. It's not just Joe White giving directions, you go here, you go there. Everybody gets to contribute. Everybody gets to be included in that entire process. And I, for one, thank you for that. That brought me here. Yeah. Do you have any questions? They've had questions.
Great. Yeah, I do. I think, and be honest, is like, what drew you to this project other than, well, I won't answer it for you. What drew you to the project? And if there's anything about the script that resonates to you a little bit, or is it just a gig? And be honest, just what drew you to the project?
So I saw it listed and I had no idea, what's a teleplay? Because usually the category, it's commercial, it's feature, it's short, you may get union, but usually the descriptors don't say teleplay. So that's the reason I opened it up, because I found that very intriguing. And then there was very little description because there were so many different ones. Yep. So in order to it was almost like you were getting lured in by, Vegematic. And wait, see, Larry, it worked.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, Vegematic. So I submitted because and I'm Googling, what's a teleplay? And
which I poorly answered to you because my vision of what a teleplay is Playhouse 90 kind of environment, but also rehearsals leading up to it, like a theater play. And but we're going to film it as a film, so there's some hybrid components of each.
Yeah, definitely.
So
hybrid.
It's difficult to describe it to people, and people from film I don't know if I want to do that. 2 rehearsals for that. I don't know about it. Got to drive to some dark dungeon in Ashland to figure out how to get there. What drew you to it? I won't answer for you.
Yeah. Well, I sort of had different experiences. You emailed me the script, and so I had the opportunity to read the script, and it was just sort of a part that I could see myself playing. I don't know exactly why, but I felt like I resonated with the character. And you know, the moment that I mentioned earlier, that's my favorite moment, when she like asking you if basically you think she should be damned to hell and expecting you to say yes, and then you say no, was just very like moving to me. So it was the script for me that made me want to do it. Yeah, and I didn't know anything about what the process would be like, but I just love to, you know, act. So being able to come for rehearsal is just fun, and an opportunity, more opportunities to act.
When we started doing this project of picking the scripts, probably, well, you came to auditions for Dracula.
Yeah.
So that was in spring or summer of last year? Summer of last year. And as I'm there seeing the rehearsals, I'm like, yep, she's Emily. Okay, how do I get her to be Emily? And we'll just get an email to her and see if she's interested in being
Well, you brought up that, you know, you were, and you did mention teleplay at that time, and I was like, I wonder what that is or how that's different. And so then,
What is he talking about? He's talking, I'm here for Dracula. He's talking about something else. I told Julie, who was directing at the time, says, I'm going to steal some of these people, but I will let you cast them first. And then she's like, okay, good. I want her though. When you were in our town.
I was already another Emily.
You were another Emily. Have you played anything else other than Emily?
I did. Yes.
You can play Emily.
I played a Heather and a woman named Noah. The only comedic one was Heather. The others have all been dramatic. They all like deal with death. So I'm like,
Because he's not on a camera, so we can just talk now. He can't be seen, and we got the show back.
yeah, I guess I have a type. But yeah, 2 Emilys in
Back to back.
Yeah, like 6 months within 3 months of each other. Yeah.
What did you think about working as an assistant director under my craziness? Can we retake that? We're talking. All right. So, what did you think about working as
Now, this was actually my second assisting director gig. My first for film. I've done one other, which didn't go well on stage for a variety of reasons that I won't go into. But this was very freeing. This was I wasn't sure if I was going to enjoy the directing thing. I've been an actor, for 8 years now or so, my whole life, ask my wife. But that's been my thing, was the acting. And having tried the assisting director once before and it didn't work, I thought, no, that's just not me. But this brought it out for me. And I directed one of the scenes in California Suite.
Yes, you did. Yep.
Community Theater.
Yep.
And hated that until the final product came up, and I looked at that and I said, I get that.
Yes, you did.
And loved it, decided that, I can do this. So this helps me because I'll be directing a couple more of these, obviously.
And the fact that we love him goes, so what do you think, Larry? Totally ignoring Jeff. What do you say, Larry? He's wearing on the floor. One of them is done this laying power.
Laying there.
Up here, Deb, up here. Look up here.
But you had some great, and probably because you're so used to being in the actor's role, like the thing with the covers, it's perfect. Like it was your idea, this like to have him burrow back under so I could unwrap him to get him up again. And it was perfect. That's what was missing. We needed a little bit more animation in there. And that was it.
Yeah.
Thanks. The visuality of a film is completely different than a play, right? You have to be big.
Yeah,
for sure. Even the small things that we're doing here, like those small things you don't think they're big, but they are big. So those suggestions were big. And it's great.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up here?
No, I just would love to keep you guys in the loop of the projects that we're doing. I know we're far away from Cambridge and Natick, and now 135 have lights.
I need him.
We're going.
Keep going. Won't forget it then.
Deb Lyons and Natick.
Oh yeah, Deb Lyons.
I got you.
No, you don't.
Do we look alike?
There's the similar essentially.
But no, so we'll keep you in the loop on future projects that we're doing. But you are more film related than you are stage related. You don't like stage?
It's not that I don't like it. I think I'm more drawn to the film. I just like, I think you nailed it when you were saying in the film, the littlest things are the big things. And I think in theater, everything has to be big because it's a different view, it's a different frame. Whereas film, you have those little nuances.
The subtlety.
Those little subtlety. And I just find it fascinating.
I love both. It's great, but it depends. Whatever I'm working on is what I'm enjoying. But what about yourself? Film, theater?
I think I also prefer film. I think I feel more real doing film, and I like that. And I've always, loved watching film. I've always been that's what made me want to be an actor, was what I saw in film. So, I think that's what I prefer. I mean, I enjoy theater too.
It's a lot of work, though. I mean, both of them was a lot of work.
Right. With theater, it feels like most theater productions are a really long time commitment. So then it's can be hard to take other projects. Whereas with film, it's, at least what I'm doing right now, they're shorter time frames that you're working on the piece, so you can do a little bit more. But I mean, it's all been a great learning experience. And I didn't realize before how different the two were, in terms of how you approach it as an actor. So it's been very interesting. And yeah.
Before we close out, why don't you tell us what's coming up for you guys next?
Let's see. In mid-January, season 3 on Amazon Prime of Luna the Witch, if there are any Luna the Witch fans.
Ooh.
Season 3 is going to drop, and I'm either in 3 or 4 episodes. You're never quite sure how they chunk it out. You film your piece.
And you go, what's good?
You don't know what's going to be, what the other episodes are. But that's a very fun project. Seth Chitwood out of Englewood Productions does that. So that's coming on Amazon Prime in mid-January.
Oh,
and then this spring, Growing Pains, which is a feature film, is going to preview and then probably go on the festival circuit before it hopefully gets picked up by a streaming.
No relation to the TV show?
No, I said, is this the working title? Do you know?
Is this Kirk Cameron? See there?
But no, I guess you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
And Kat Aragopoulos, amazing director. If you ever have the chance to work with her, it was a privilege to be on her set.
Nice.
So, yeah.
We'll look forward to seeing that.
Yes. Sandra?
I have a student film coming out. I'm not sure when it's coming out, and then I'm doing another student film in January. But so far, that's all I have lined up. I'm also a full-time attorney, so I have to juggle the two. But I hope to be able to do more of this in the future because it's what I actually enjoy doing. And so, yeah, we'll see.
And I'm working with you next month. We're going to be filming Photos of Meg, which you're directing.
I'm directing.
And I'm there to support.
I am looking forward to that. We still need to find some set pieces, but yeah, we'll get there.
It's January 26th. And that's great. So, yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much for everyone coming tonight. And
Thank you, Kendra. Thank you, Deb. Wonderful job on the film, and we look forward to its release.
yeah, and working with you guys again someday.
Reunion.
Reunion.
Why don't you go, everybody?